Amazing. My name is Michael Bouchard, and I'd like to welcome you to Unity in Missoula, all of you that are here and all of you on Zoom. Good morning and welcome. As you know, the Missoula Health Department is still encouraging indoor masking to help prevent the spread of COVID. However, it is up to our own judgments. So let us honor one another, masked or not masked, to take a few moments and acknowledge each other with waves, nods, and other non-physical means to show our appreciation and our connection and our love. So let's just take a moment. And all of you on Zoom, people are holding you also. You're with us. Thank you. So. So now, as we move into a more formal part of our service, let us remember that Unity in Missoula is a team ministry founded on the 5 basic principles of unity. And by team ministry, I think most of you realize that you see all of us taking turns, being speakers, being service coordinators, painting downstairs, providing food, shoveling, all these different things we have all taken on those responsibilities, and the ones that suit us in our particular abilities. But also as we move into our basic tenets, I want you to think about that song, because this month we're kind of focusing on the idea of releasing, that we have the power, that we have the choice to let go of things that are no longer serving us, or maybe no longer mirror the truth of who we are. So as we go through these focuses, take a moment to allow them to come down into your feeling part of your being, down into your heart. This is the place that knows your truth. Allow it to try to come down out of the world of thoughts and ideas that kind of keep you separate from each other. So just take a breath, relax, and just be with yourself for a moment as you listen to these focuses of unity. God is all good and active and everything everywhere. I am naturally good because God's divinity is in me and everyone. I create my experiences by what I choose to believe and think and feel. Through prayer and meditation, I connect with God and bring out the good that is in my life always. And I do and give my best by living the truth I know. I make a difference. And today on the Daily Word, our bi-monthly meditation magazine published by Unity. And the focus today is guidance. I use divine wisdom to find my way. When I am pondering a perplexing question, or I need to make an important choice, I reach beyond human reasoning to the limitless wisdom of divine mind within me, never further away than my next thought. After clarifying my question and considering my available options, I release the situation, focusing instead on the divine presence within. I affirm, I am using divine wisdom to show me the way. In prayerful silence, peace envelops me. As I conclude my prayer in time and resume my activities, I may experience a flash of insight or a more gradual understanding. However it happens, I trust my next steps will become clear to me. Confident in my divine guidance, I move forward with calm assurance. And from Matthew, but strive first for the kingdom of God and only his love, and all these things will be given to you as well. So we have some announcements. Next Sunday, our speaker will be Louise Harvey. Thank you, Louise. And our November theme is Release Your False Beliefs. November's power and ability is release. We are happy to announce that we will have a choir for Christmas Eve service this year. Jeff Haberman will be speaking and Janine Flotten will direct the choir. Practice will begin in 2 weeks from 12:30 to 2 each Sunday until Christmas Eve. Please see the sign-up sheet to join us in making a joyful noise. So, yeah, someone was just mentioning to me a couple minutes ago about missing the choir, and I told them looks like it's going to happen this year. So, okay, thank you. Choir sign-up sheet, and there's a pin there. And let's see here. Also, please join us on Sunday, November the 20th, as we will resume our annual Thanksgiving potluck celebration. If you can help with setup, serving, or cleanup, please see the sign-up sheet. I bet it's right here. Yep. If you know what you'd like to bring to the feast, you can let everyone know what it is, know as well. We are glad to get to share our bounty again. So I'll start that here so I don't forget it. How about we start over here? Okay, so let's see here. Okay, our book groups. We have 2 book groups that meet each week. One is online. It meets on Mondays at 12:30. They are reading Sweetgrass by Robin Kimmerer. To get the link to the online group, please talk to Linda Andrus. Our in-person Unity book group meets on Tuesdays here at the church at 12:30. And they're going to continue the book Being Mortal by Atul Gawande. The Course in Miracle Study Group also meets here on Wednesdays at 12:30. So you can see it's kind of an active community. We are holding a time of silent prayer and meditation for peace and support of the people of the Ukraine and Russia every Thursday evening here at 7. But if you can't make it, but you want to be a part of that connection, just take a moment at home and just feel yourself connected to the people here, but also all the souls on this planet that knowingly or unknowingly are holding love for all this conflict. And thanks so much to those of you who continue to support our Unity community through your tithes and love offerings. There's a basket in the foyer when we come in for donations from those of you who are physically here. You may also mail your offerings to the address here at 546 South Avenue West, Missoula. So the church's 10% tithe this week will be going to Daily Word. The board sets each week, I believe, a different place to tithe our donations that come in that week. So the Daily Word is a publication of Unity Worldwide Ministries. So please hold them in your heart as I affirm. And then I'll have you affirm it with me afterwards. Divine love is the source of our bounty. Divine love as us blesses and multiplies all that we are, all that we have, all that we give, and all that we receive. And so together, let's affirm that from our heart space. Divine love is the source of our bounty. Divine love as us blesses and multiplies all that we are and have, all that we give, all that we receive. Before we move on to the talk this week, I will affirm Unity's primary affirmation and ask you to join me for 2 more times. Again, just kind of take a breath and come back into your heart. It's so difficult to do. It's so easy to just have all this just shoot by us up in our heads. So again, because these affirmations are so powerful, I'll read it once and have you say this one with me twice. There's only one presence and one power in my life, the all-loving goodness of God. And together, there is only one presence and one power in my life, the all-loving goodness of God. Breathe, and then we'll say again, there is only one presence and one power in my life, the all-loving goodness of God. In addition, here is our unity affirmation. I'll affirm it once and then ask you to join me again. We are Unity of Missoula. We are a radiating center of divine love, open and accessible to all. We are God's light, peace, and joy wherever we are. And together, we are Unity of Missoula. We are a radiating center of divine love, open, accessible to all. We are God's light, peace, and joy wherever we are. Amen. Unity of Missoula maintains a circle of people who have made a commitment to pray every day for others at their request. If you have names of people to hold in prayer for a month, you may place their names in the prayer box right here, and they will be held for that month, and then they will be sent to the prayer circle, who will also hold them in prayer, and to Silent Unity. So please join me in prayer for a moment as we hold all of them in our hearts. You may also now say quietly or silently the names of those that you wish to bring into this time of prayer. So let's take a moment. Dear God, we hold these friends and loved ones in our hearts. We behold their light as expressions of the indwelling Christ. We release them to your care and affirm divine order in their lives and ours. Thank you, God. Amen. It looks like we're going to do a congregational psalm. And it's going to be up, I believe, up here. Okay, great. And Louise will lead us on the piano.
So fun to do that again after this long time. That song means something different now than it used to, right?
So thank you very much. And now it's the time to introduce our speaker. And we are gifted with Michael Panique, who is going to be our speaker today. Michael originally came to this community back in 2009 with his wife. And then since then they had a Alexander, and Michael has served as a chaplain, and he has been in the choir and also an amazing solo singer. And the first time I heard Leonard Cohen's Hallelujah, it was Michael. And I think those of you who heard it, you probably still feel it. So Michael, thank you. And Michael and I also get to have a relationship as a chaplain. And Michael's a person that is always working and reflecting and trying to live these principles in his life. And so that's what he brings to us when he shares. And Michael, thank you so much for who you are. Yes.
Okay. Oh. Everything's upside down. Okay, here we go. How metaphorical is that? This one? How we doing? Okay. First off, thank you. It's such a privilege to be here with you today, and to get to share this beautiful morning and to just share a few of my thoughts on, this idea of letting go of or releasing false beliefs. It's something that I'm glad to say I have some experience with. What what I cannot imagine, and I don't want to think about what a painful existence I would be experiencing right now if I didn't have that experience. Um, Nevertheless, when I sat down to be like, okay, what do I want to say about this? I had a hard time getting going. So I fell back on an old grade school kind of, like, what do you do when you're giving the news? You got who, what, when, where, why, and how. So this is my who, what, when, where, why, and how of releasing false beliefs. So to get started, who needs to release a false belief? I do. The point being, like, the thing that comes out to me is that, it might be a lot easier for me to become aware of or see when others are espousing beliefs or are in the grips of beliefs that that may seem false to me, but really there's nothing I can do about that. I can only release the beliefs that are mine. And I've tried. I spent a long time, but the story of my young adult life was there was nothing I loved more than trying to change the way that somebody else thought, or the way that somebody else believed, like convincing them that that their life would just be so much better if they would just see things and do things my way. It just doesn't work. So that's, the who is pretty simple. I'm the only one that can release my beliefs, and I can't do that for anybody else. What is a little bit deeper, a little bit broader. I think there may be multiple categories of false beliefs, and any one belief may fit into multiple categories. So I made a list. It's by no means an exhaustive list, but it's what came to me when I was thinking about this and praying about this. So, one obvious thing a lot of us have experience with is, what we call limiting beliefs. So these are kind of the excuses that I tell myself for why I'm not able to do what I need to do or be who I want to become, why my life doesn't look the way that I think it should. These are kind of the walls that I put up to protect myself from the pain and failure of rejection. It's rooted in fear. Most of these are going to be rooted in fear, I think. An example might be something like, well, I'd really like to do that thing, but I just don't have the time. Or I'm too young to serve in that capacity. Or I'm too old to get into a new hobby. Or, those are some examples that I've had some experience with. The next one that came to me is naive beliefs. These often are, the result of kind of old childhood or adolescent experiences. They can be inherited from parents and loved ones, grandparents, other relatives, teachers. They may be misunderstood or even malicious elements of society that we internalize and adopt, rooted in ignorance. An example that from my own life that I've had to work on is this idea or the belief that loving someone means putting their needs above my own, before my own. The next one is mistaken ideals. These are the if-onlys, conditions that I put on my happiness or my ability to feel safe, feel fulfilled, experience joy. These are rooted in lack, which is just another form of fear. They might be things like, I'd be happy if I only had a bigger house or a faster car. I would, I could be at peace if I only had more free time. Things like that. The next one's a little trickier. This is maybe the odd one out. These are delusions, false beliefs that are persistent, that we're often unable to release without getting significant help. Can be the products of serious mental health issues, can require medical and/or professional intervention, which I think kind of puts it outside the scope of this kind of thing. My focus tends to be on what can I do to release my false beliefs in order to have a more joyous and peaceful life. And I think that falls a little bit outside that scope, but I just wanted to mention it because it is something that's out there that some of us have probably struggled with. And then the last one is, I wanted to call it the granddaddy, but then I realized that's a little sexist. So I'm just going to call it the ancestor. This is the root of all false beliefs. Everything else that I've talked about, everything else that I can think of in terms of my false beliefs comes from this. It's just simply the belief that I am separate, that I'm not connected, and thus I'm always vulnerable and in danger of oblivion. And I use oblivion as kind of a stand-in for, all of the, whatever it is my fear is going to latch onto in that moment or at that situation. I feel like this kind of that one false belief is the stuff. It's the material that all of the other false beliefs make themselves out of. It forms the kind of the bars of the prison that keeps me separate and vulnerable, that keeps me in a place where I'm subject to my fear. Which brings us to when. When is the right time to release a false belief? Well, I mean, obviously as soon as possible, right? My experience has been that releasing my false beliefs tends to be more of an ongoing process. But there are signs that I can look for that kind of help me know that the time is right to kind of sit down and put in some serious effort. And so the first one is awareness, right? Like, you can't do anything about it if you don't know that it's there. So I become aware that one of my beliefs is or has become false. Maybe something that used to be true isn't true anymore. Or I think Michael put it beautifully at the beginning of today that maybe it's something that was serving that's not serving anymore. Or maybe it was never serving and I just now became aware of that. But I did have a short, let's see if I can do this. A short bit out of, this is Loving What Is, Byron Katie. Most of us are probably familiar with this, but it's a short, I opened it to the wrong page. Here we go. Just a short story from this book that talks about kind of becoming aware of our stories or of our false beliefs. So this says, I often use the word story to talk about thoughts or sequences of thoughts that we convince ourselves are real. A story may be about the past, the present, or the future. It may be about what things should be, what they could be, or what they are. Stories appear in our minds hundreds of times a day when someone gets up without a word and walks out of the room, when someone doesn't smile or doesn't return a phone call, or when a stranger does smile, before you open an important letter, or after you feel an unfamiliar sensation in your chest, when your boss invites you to come to his office, or when your partner talks to you in a certain tone of voice. Stories are the untested, uninvestigated theories that tell us what all of these things mean. We don't even realize that they're just theories. And then she goes on to tell us a story about an experience in the ladies' room at a restaurant that is really, it's a great story. It's interesting. It is topical to this, but the point being that what I like about that is that it emphasizes the the made up nature of these things, that we're gifted with this mind that is so creative, that has a tendency to, in my case anyway, take an idea, may or may not be true, build it up, collect evidence, even if that evidence, like find ways to make that evidence support the story until it is as the truth. Never minding that it just came completely out of my own ego or my own unconsciousness. I think it just, it's important to be aware of how, how these things build up, or where they come from. So the first thing is awareness. Then we have to have the motivation. If it's still serving, then there's, what's the point in releasing it? Usually, in my case, what happens is that the behaviors that stem from or are linked to this belief start causing pain or damage to me or my loved ones, to my community or to the environment. And that's when I know that that there's something going on that's not quite lined up with who I want to be, with that part of me that's divine, like that's connected, that comes from that sacred place. That there's something manifesting in my life that I'm working from, that's not grounded in spirit, that's grounded in ego, or that's grounded in fear. And I know that I have to change it because it starts causing pain and damage. And the next thing is, we have the ability to give the, put in the work, to give the issue its proper time and energy. Make sure that your basic needs are met first, because this work is hard, in my experience. So many people have probably heard of HALT, right? If you need to have a serious or impactful conversation with somebody, don't do it if you're hungry, angry, lonely, or tired. The same goes for this. We cannot do this work well if our other basic needs aren't first met. And the last one is that we have the necessary tools. Well, what are the necessary tools? We're going to get to that when we get to how, hopefully. So where do we release false beliefs? Well, simply wherever we find them, right? Maybe it's not that simple, but what I've found is that there's no piece of my life, there's no area of my experience that's been immune to false beliefs at times. Being honest with myself is probably the most important aspect of this. I have to be able to, as we say, meet myself where I'm at, not expecting perfection, because that's only going to lead to denial of having anything wrong, any false beliefs, anything that's not serving to begin with. Perfection is the goal, then anything that might be perceived as less than that can't exist or can't be acknowledged. because that would threaten the picture of perfection, and just, keep us from doing the necessary work. So that's pretty simple, I think, right? Why is it important for me to release my false beliefs? Who cares? Why even do this? It's hard work. Got to put a lot of stuff into it. Yeah, maybe I'm doing damage, but really, is it that important? It is that important. It's important for me to do this work because I create my experiences by what I choose to think and what I feel and believe. If I'm holding on to false beliefs, then I'm attempting to create experiences that don't align with reality. I'm putting myself in a place where, what I'm creating is not in accordance with the divine part of myself. And that's why the wreckage and the damage and the pain happens. Because of the disconnection, between my, a false belief and the reality of God's world, the actions that I take in service of those beliefs can't serve to bring me closer to what my soul truly desires, which is complete connection with that divine source, with all of you and the divine parts of you. My soul, my being needs to exist in the real world. And let me check the time here. It's time to take my medication. Okay. I don't think I'm going to be able to read all of this because we're going to run out of time, but I just wanted to this is from A Course in Miracles, one of my favorite books, one of the most beautiful and useful texts that I've ever had the privilege to find out about. This is on page 633 if you're following along at home. It's in chapter 30, The New Beginning, part 4, The Truth Behind Illusions. It says, you will attack what does not satisfy, and thus you will not see that you made it up. You always fight illusions, for the truth behind them is so lovely and so still in loving gentleness. Were you aware of it, you would forget defensiveness entirely and rush to its embrace. The truth could never be attacked. And this you knew when you made idols. They were made that this might be forgotten. You attack but false idols and never truthful ones. All idols are the false ideas you made up to fill the gap you think arose between yourself and what is true. And you attack them for the things you think they represent. What lies beyond them cannot be attacked. And the thing that that drew me to this is this idea of we create these false beliefs, and we create them to reinforce the illusion of our separation, the ancestor, right? That we put this gap between ourselves and the divine, and then we fill it with all of this stuff. I was going to say something else, and then cry and get, dive into self-pity about, why don't I feel connected? Why am I in pain? Why am I feeling like I'm never enough? Because I've held myself apart. I wish I had time to read a couple of these other passages, but I will kind of give you my notes on them. The same section, but verse 6 says, appearances deceive the mind that wants to be deceived. That we have that accountability, that if I am, I'm not the victim of my false beliefs. I am the architect, because there was something that I couldn't get a hold of that I needed, that I couldn't find a way to fulfill that need. And so I built this thing to deceive me about why I can't get that fulfilled. And number 7, let yourself be free of all the dreams of what you never were. And then number 8, once the gap is empty, its unreality is plain. Illusions are harmless once they're disbelieved. I wanted to put that in there because it reminds me of, I've told you before what a big geek I am. I love these tabletop role-playing games, Dungeons and Dragons and such. And there's something in there where certain people are bad guys or whatever can create these illusions, and the illusions can do actual harm to the characters that the players are playing. But they have a chance, you roll a dice or whatever to disbelieve the illusion, and if you disbelieve it, then it can't do any actual damage anymore. And I feel like that's a great metaphor for my false beliefs and for the actions that are associated with them, because once I see that it's not reality, then it loses some of its power to do damage to me and to my loved ones. So that's why. I thought I would have more time for how I usually run short on these things. So, but there's probably countless different methods that we can use. We can adapt kind of the 4 questions that Byron Katie puts forth in this book. And I don't know. If we have time, I'll get to that. But I did want to kind of go through my process that I've used to do this work. So number 1, assuming that the time is right, kind of back to the when kind of stuff. It's the right time. I've got the awareness and the motivation. All my basic needs are met. Step 1 is to sit down and engage in prayer and meditation. Do everything that I can to get myself in as close of contact with my divine self, with a higher power, as we call it in the 12-step programs, to do that first. Then I focus on whatever the false belief is, and I give gratitude to it. Every spiritual task that I've ever undertaken always is more successful when I lead with gratitude. And the truth is that, as I said before, that belief served a purpose at one point for me, and I give gratitude for that service. Then I ask what need I have that was serviced by that false belief, and what belief can I replace it with that will fulfill that need that is true, that is aligned with my divine self. And then I use my affirmative prayer to reinforce the new belief. Myrtle Fillmore gave us a great example of this with, I am a child of God, and therefore I do not inherit sickness. How powerful. I examine my past behavior and identify what actions I've been taking that are based in that false belief. Identify the opposite actions that I can take in the future. And then moving forward, I look for situations where the belief impacts me and take those opportunities to take the new actions. And this is where it's an ongoing process, because I'm not always going to be aware of those moments in the moment. But it's important that whenever I do have that awareness, that I have the faith to take the new action. And the last thing that I have to do is practice forgiveness. And understand that old habits take time to break down, and remind myself that that I'm going to slip up, and that when I do, That doesn't mean that I've failed. It just means that I get to continue to work at it. And I think, yeah, I just want to thank you guys for the opportunity to be here today to share this with you. Thanks for inviting me. And now I'd like to just take a couple of minutes for a little bit of a meditation. So if you don't mind, kind of let yourself sink into your seat and let your presence feel light upon your body. Feel your feet on the floor and feel the energy, the essence of your spirit, of your life as it connects to the earth and through the earth to the other bodies in this room, to the other souls in this community. Feel the love pulsing back and forth, giving and receiving. Take a moment to explore your memory. Think of your favorite hugger and imagine that they're giving you the tightest hug right now. Feeling safe, feeling loved, feeling the peaceful embrace of our divine creator expressed through ourselves and our loved ones. From that safe, loved space, stop and see if we can recall the most recent time that one of our actions caused pain for us or a loved one. Because that action was coming from fear, spawned by some outdated or non-serving belief that we still have. And say thank you. Thank you for serving me when I needed it. And now I need to move on. Think of the opposite of whatever that belief is. And affirm it in your mind while I affirm mine out loud. I am enough. Thank you, Divine Creator, for making me enough. And then as you feel comfortable to, just let your attention come back gently to this room, to this sacred space. Thank you all. I love you very much. like to invite everybody to now join me in the prayer for protection, followed by the singing of the peace song. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, a peace that was meant to be, with God as creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joy as well. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. And as we go forth this week about the rest of our lives and the beautiful snow and the bracing cold, trying to find a way to spin that in a higher energy way. Just remember to be gentle with yourself. Be aware for where old beliefs, outdated ideas may be impacting our behavior, and take the opportunity to do work on that when we can. And as we move past those old patterns and into a new joyful existence, we can have fun. Oh, thank you.
Appreciate it. Let me get this one in.